Om Sri Sai Ram. I offer my most prayerful and humble salutations at the feet of my beloved Sadguru. So I got this request to share a few thoughts on how can you be positive in your thought, word, and deed, especially during these 9 days of Navratri. And here are some of my thoughts I'd like to offer on this wonderful occasion. But before I begin that, I want to thank the Sai Center and Srishti for inviting me and allowing me to share a few of my thoughts. It's always a privilege and a great pleasure to do this offering. Navratri comes not once a year, not twice a year, but 4 times in a year, for many of you who may not be aware of it. The most popular one is the one celebrated in October, November, during the Sharat month, autumn-winter season. But this is one in the time of March, April. There's one in February and there's one in summer. It's almost like the 4 seasons. The ancestors, the rishis and the saints allowed us to take 9 days of these 4 seasons and devote it to a period of intense introspection, analysis, and self-actualization. I think none of these were designed to merely make you only religious, if you will, or to worship some god, some devi, fighting some asuras in some horrendous battles where they drag each other with the hair and screaming and kicking. Every single sentence for example, in Devi Mahatmyam, which is read during these 9 days, people read it. Every single word, every single sentence has a deeper significance. For example, and we're not going to go into that because it's out of the scope of this particular offering. And maybe sometime we can take up Devi Mahatmyam as a study. I don't know. It'll be a lifelong dedication. But the point is, the 9 days are divided into first 3 days. There is an aspect of Shakti, the universal consciousness that you dedicated to, that is working and removing the negativity, if you will. We're going to talk of positive and negativity within you. So you have the Kali energy that removes the tamas within you, the Madhu and the Kaitaba asuras or the demons. And then you have Mahalakshmi, the goddess of abundance, coming and destroying Mahishasura is like the demon of craving. He's sensual in nature. He wants, all the time wanting. So the only way you can kill the want in you is by abundance. So Lakshmi comes in as abundance. So you invoke the abundance principle in your consciousness, invoke it, awaken it, so that it takes care of this incessant craving and wanting. And then comes the final one where you invite Mother Saraswati. What does that mean? Saraswati is the highest wisdom. And why do you want wisdom to engage in a battle? Because that is the kind of battle you need. And that battle is with Shumba and Nishumba. And Shimba and Nishumba are actually the I and mine principle. They're very subtle and they're the most powerful energies that one has to conquer. The I and the mine. So we won't, as I said, we won't get into the details of that. But these 9 days are essentially meant for us to contemplate on what is the meaning of these 9 days. Why am I working with these lower energies, if you will? Only so that I am able to release this highest consciousness within me. And so I can use that to live my life to the fullest extent possible. We are not doing that so far. We are experiencing life through our senses. Senses determine our reality. Senses determine our happiness, if you will. Senses determine what is real, what is unreal. It's almost everything. It's not almost. It's actually everything that we experience is through our 5 senses. Okay? Hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, and the touch. So how do we get beyond this? How do we experience something beyond this? And that is where Navratri comes in. And to me, the most positive thought that one could entertain, I'll try and keep this as concise as possible because these are profound thoughts and the challenge is to keep them concise. So let me see how much I can do justice to this. The most profound positive energy that one can use to contemplate in these 9 days, and then once it becomes a habit, then you carry it on to every day, is one mantra which is my favorite, which Baba has given us on the occasion of his birthday. He said, "This is my gift to you. Say it every day, and this will release you from all your your limitations, your inhibitions, your fear and anxieties." What is that? And the quote goes like this. I quote. You probably heard this. Bear with me, but it's worth hearing it 100 times again. And the quote goes like this. I quote. "I am God. I am God. I am not different from God. I am Akanda Brahma, the indivisible absolute. I am Sat-Chit-Ananda, truth, consciousness, divine bliss. Greed cannot affect me. I am ever content. Fear cannot enter me." This is such grief and anxiety cannot affect me. I am ever content. Fear cannot enter me. This is such a powerful message, a powerful mantra, that this is what transcends all negativity. In fact, it transcends positive and negative. The whole concept of Navratri is not just good versus evil and good wins over evil. Because as long as we believe in good, there will always be the shadow of evil. Because this is relative. Good and evil are all relative. But in the absolute plane, you rise above good and evil. You rise to a point where good and evil don't matter to you anymore. So it is not the tamasic guna, it is not the rajasic guna, it's not the sattvic guna either. It is transcending the gunas. Guna atita, rupa varjita. That is the sign of a guru. Guru is for guna atita. You transcend qualities, you transcend the form. Now, you might ask, okay, it sounds great. I am God, I am God, I am not different from God. But how do I bring it into my thought, word, and deed? How do I practice it? So here are some words I want you to play with, if you will, in your mind. How do I bring, what I did is, and what I do is I break them into the acronym. I break this I am God into an acronym. Okay, so I-A-M-G-O-D. What does I stand for? What does A stand for? And once I examine that, it makes it more easier for me to comprehend, at least bring it to a level where I can practice and I can examine whether I'm going in the right direction of being I am God. Okay, so these are baby steps. Now, but nevertheless, you'll find that baby steps sometimes are more than enough for you to reach the goal, because sometimes the journey itself becomes the goal. So bear with me. It'll take a few more minutes than I originally planned, but here are some thoughts that I want you to take home on this holy occasion of Navratri. In thought, I stands for inspirational. Are my thoughts inspiring to me? Are my thoughts inspirational? That is a question you need to ask. You observe each and every thought from that angle. And then comes, are my words important? Everything that I speak, is it important to me? Is what I'm speaking irrelevant? Especially when it comes to gossiping. How many of us love to do that when we talk about people or events? Most of our conversations are either people or we are discussing events, which restaurant we ate food, which movie we saw, or what happened here, what happened there, whether it's politics, whether it's cricket, whether it's games, sports, whatever it is, we are discussing an event or we are discussing people. Do we discuss ideas? Are we creative in our words? Are my words important enough? So having inspirational thoughts alone is not enough. It has to translate itself into important words. And then it translates itself into action. And that means, is my action industrious? Is it alive? Is it full of energy? It will be if my thoughts are inspirational. So inspiration, importance, and industry is what industriousness is what you might want to contemplate on when you think of the letter I. Let's go to the letter A. I am, right? So A. Are my thoughts aligned to my core belief? That is important. My faith cannot become your faith. My journey, spiritual journey, cannot become your journey. Your thoughts, your ideas should be aligned with your core beliefs. And that is what you need to constantly examine. The thought that I'm expressing at this moment, is it aligned with my core belief? If it is not, then I shell the thought. I allow it to burn. Let it die. I won't feed it. Okay, so alignment is one way for you to contemplate on the letter A as far as the thought is concerned. So when my thought is aligned, then what happens to my word? Then My words come out with affection. Do I speak affectionately? Do I hurt people with my words? All these are baby steps to becoming the I am God principles. Because one who is in tune with that I am God principle, why would I want to hurt somebody with my words? Why? Because that person is an extension of me, my consciousness. So there is no second for me to hurt. That is what Devi says ultimately to Nishumba, Asura, who says, oh, all you're taking help of all these energies and you're fighting me. And she says, there is no second. These are all me. You are part of me. And therefore she absorbs all of this within herself. So the point is, in that one consciousness, only affection can express itself through your mouth. Are you doing that? Or do you hurt somebody? Even if it is for fun, do you hurt somebody? Or do you speak affectionately? Think about it. And when it comes to action, because I talked of alignment, we talk of adherence. Does my action adhere to my beliefs? Am I acting in contrary to my beliefs? If my action reflects something in contrary to what I believe, then refrain from doing that. Just refrain it. That is what tamasic. That's why you invoke the energy of Kali. Kali says enact. Inaction means what? When something forces me to do something I don't believe, I just stop doing it. Just stop it right there. Stop your body from indulging in that action, and you will notice that you're invoking the energy of Kali there, tamasic energy, to kill that action. But that could also amount to suppression, but that's not alone. It's not just suppression, because your adherence in action should be in alignment with your thoughts, in other words, with your core beliefs. So that is the A. Alignment, affection, and adherence. Think about that. The M, that stands for meaningful. Are my thoughts meaningful? So you have thoughts which are inspiring, or thoughts which are aligned, but thoughts, are they meaningful to me? Do they make any sense to me? And if not, how can I make meaning out of these inspiring thoughts? What meaning does it hold for me? Leave alone experts and scholars and others translating things for me. What is the meaning of this word or this sentence for me? What does Navratri mean to me? Examine that. It has to be meaningful. And your words have to be mindful. And because it makes meaning, you won't just speak for the sake of speaking. You won't speak out of a textbook. You won't memorize something and say something. And that is why, even in this Devi Mahatmyam, even Lalita Sahasranama, whatever you're doing these 9 days, it's very important you understand what you're saying, because that evokes the bhava in it, which means you have to study it. And because we don't speak Sanskrit, we don't know what these chants mean. You have to study it the rest of the year. So when it comes to these 9 days, now you devote yourself and invoke the energy that's underlying these words, these mantras, because each letter in Sanskrit is a mantra. So you have words that are meaningful, that come out of you, the thoughts that are meaningful. It expresses itself in mindful words. You are aware of what you're speaking. It's very, very important. And therefore, your acts will be meritorious. Meritorious deeds. You will do only good deeds. There is no such thing as I have to make up my mind to do something good. It will be good if your thoughts are meaningful, if your words are mindful, your acts will be meritorious. So these are 3 letters in M I thought you should contemplate on. I contemplate on every day. And then comes to the G. Are my thoughts godly? Are my words filled with gratitude? Are my actions graceful? Godliness in your thoughts. Am I forgiving in my thoughts? Do I hold grudge in my thoughts? Do I hold vengeance in my thoughts? Or am I godly? Godly in your thinking. Think about it. What is, if God were to think, and if I was God, how would I think? How would that express itself in words? Gratitude. I'll be thankful for everything I see around me. The food that is on my plate, the air that I breathe, the water that I drink. I'll be just soaked in gratitude to that divine energy that engulfs me every now and then. That is what Mahalakshmi is. She fills you with abundance, so much to thank for that you don't have any time to ask for anything. And that builds in the cycle of positivity into your life. And your acts are graceful. Graceful. There's no violence. There's full of love. Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa in your thoughts means graceful. So, G, think about that. O, obeisance. Are my thoughts full of obeisance? Is there an element of offering? Is there an element of humility in my thinking? Every time, for example, if I can speak for myself, every time I get an idea, I just immediately follow it with, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that this idea was given to me. From wherever it is from the cosmos, I express that idea. So this thought that comes to me comes in a form of obeisance. It's an offering. And that's what happens if a thought is like this, and if it's an orderliness in your words, then the act becomes an offering. It's not your act anymore. You offer it. Kayena vacha manase indriyeva buddhyatmanava prakriti svabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami. I offer my thought, word and deed, everything to you. Why? Because you given me this thought. You are inspiring me to speak this, and therefore this act is also offered to you, and therefore I don't pay attention to the result of my act, but at the same time I make sure the act is worthy of offering. That means there is excellence in my action. That is for the O. And finally, the D is one of my favorites. The D is, are my thoughts disciplined? Am I just thinking anything and everything that comes to me? Especially in today's age where there is this, the smartphone, if you will. I'm not against it. I'm for technology. I've been in the technology field. I'm using technology around. So I'm grateful for technology. But then when do you overuse this? For example, WhatsApp. There are so many videos, so many chats, so many groups that we all belong to, which is not bad. But then you just simply, it's almost out of habit. It's become a habit now. Without thinking, you're just scrolling. So what are you doing is there's absolutely no discipline into what kind of thoughts I want to engage in. Sometimes you're laughing, sometimes you're crying, sometimes there's a violent clip of a video. Sometimes there is some crazy stuff going on. Sometimes there's good inspirational. It's all over the place. So are my thoughts disciplined? Ask yourself. Then you can practice the I am God. Otherwise, there'll be no correlation. That's why we go back to the adherence and alignment and all that stuff. So D is discipline in your thoughts. Then when you speak your words, it comes out of a sense of devotion. It's the same thing as an offering. There is devotion in your words. There is bhakti. There is bhava. And when you speak words with devotion, people listen to you. The person across the table will listen to you, whether it is a marketing team you're engaged in, whether you're discussing a hardcore political scenario. Your words, when it comes out of discipline, the other person will listen. That is energy in your words, because it comes out of with bhava. Devotion is not just merely a religious thing, as you're devoted to some god out there. Devotion is bhava, feeling. There's energy in your words. And finally, the act comes with a sense of duty. Am I dutiful? Am I acting out of sense of duty? That means I ask myself often, what is my duty right now? In this moment, at this moment, what is my duty? Maybe as a father, I mean, I'm not a father, but then as a father, what could be my duty? As a husband, what could be my duty? As a devotee of Sai, what could be my duty? Then my actions, then I either refrain it from an action, or I immerse myself into the action, because that action becomes an offering to God. So IAMGOD can be practiced. Each of these can be practiced in thought, in word, and in deed. Think about these words. Go back to this video, listen to it if you can, and note these words down. And then say, how do I practice this on a daily basis? Begin with Navratri, because the cosmic energies are very, if you will, very conducive for spiritual practice. That's why they selected certain parts of the year, not simply out of random. They picked up 4 seasons, or let's pick up 9 days. But there's a lot. It goes into astrology, it goes into astronomy, it goes into Vedic periods and their thought and processes. But without going there, it's just a simple faith and belief that these rishis, these powerful seers of the past knew what they were talking about. They selected these days because they're very conducive for such thoughts. And if I can engage myself in such thoughts, then these thoughts become my second nature. So between 2 seasons, I contemplate, I bring these thoughts and words and actions into fruition. And then my next Navratri becomes a step closer to being, I am God, I am God, I am not different from God. I am Akanda Parabrahma. I am Sat-Chit-Ananda. Greed and anxiety cannot affect me. I am ever content. Fear cannot enter me. Jai Sai Ram.